My contract with the London Symphony Orchestra, with the LSO, requests quite politely that I not conduct any other orchestra within London other than the LSO. But today I think I've found a way around that.
These days there's so much music making, concerts, recordings, television and so forth, that we take for granted that music is a career, a job, an industry. But music is more than that. It's a love, a pleasure, an enthusiasm. Sometimes with so much emphasis on professional music making, we're inclined to lose sight of that fact. Now these players are not professional musicians, not yet anyway, despite their obvious talent. Neither are they full-time music students committed to a dedicated career. They come from a number of schools scattered all over the county of Leicestershire and meet once a week to make music. This year, the Leicestershire Schools Orchestra celebrates its jubilee, 25 years of music making. Today, in a totally impromptu situation, they meet Previn to rehearse music by Glinka, Rachmaninoff and Beethoven. In rehearsal breaks, Previn will be asking one basic question. What does it mean to be a musician, professional or amateur?
Better luck next time. Third time. Exit each one, exit. Each note now. Not too soon. Give it time. Now. Keep tempo. Better. totally unrehearsed performance of the Ruslan and Ludmila Overture by Glinka. I've not had the pleasure of working with this particular orchestra before, what is it, 6 minutes ago? Just to prove that it's live television, I have to tell you something, and that is obvious. I have a fearful cold, and it has gone into my throat, and I have a very hard time talking for any length of time. I have, look, this, which is not a sophistry or an eccentricity. I will keep for emergency. It is nothing exotic, I assure you. It's tea. It's not even tea. It's BBC tea, which is. Let's play something. When I asked what repertoire you were preparing currently, I was told that you were preparing for a concert at Festival Hall, and that you were taking note of the Rachmaninoff centenary by playing the symphonic dances. Now, I find the symphonic dances extremely difficult. I hope you do. Do you, by the way? Because I tell you what, you're not leaving because of anything I said, are you? Because I just came back from a tour of America with the LSO, and we took it on tour. And I must tell you that the rehearsals of that piece were absolutely mind-blowingly difficult. So if you like, let's not do the whole thing because that would be the remaining 3 hours. But let's do first movement, bits and pieces from it, shall we? And see what we're up to. 1. Very discreet indeed, Goodwin, I must say. Now, make a hell of a noise. 1. Before 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars before 4, the last beat of that bar and the next beat are those 2 short accented quavers, right? Yum, bum, cadence, dominant tonic. All right. That is played much too ladies and gentlemanly like. You know, I mean, here he was, poor old Sergei, sitting in perpetual orange juice in California and thinking so Russian. You know, don't minimize it for him. That has to be really bum, 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 short and very dry and hard. That leads you back to that extraordinary rhythmic theme. Can we play once more, please, at 2 before 2? 2 before 2. Nice and rhythmic, and then calm it down at 2 in terms of volume. And 1. Now, first and seconds, go! Again. No, see, isn't it funny? All the really difficult bits you played brilliantly, and suddenly 1, bop, 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 you rush. That's where you must be very careful. It's very difficult to be rhythmic when it's soft. Number 4, huh? Number 4. Always let me hear ba-da-da. And 1. That's better.
Lots of piano.
It's not a fiddle concerto. You can't play dee-da-dum, 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 dee-da-dum. No. Ba-ba-bum, ba-da-dum, bida-dum, bida-dum. You must not rush, please. Can you play for me 4 before 6? And the little hairpins are minimal, huh? Just pop, 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 pop. Give the clarinet and the oboe a chance. 4 before 6. And 1. Now come on up. That's a nasty bit, I must say. That's wicked of him to have written that. You know why, by the way? Because it was a 2-piano piece, and he was the world's greatest pianist. And I can play that figure as fast as you like. But on the violin, it's dreadful. It's really uncomfortably written, I grant you. However, each one of those, you know what I'm talking about. It starts forte, make a diminuendo on the last group of 4 semiquavers. In the first place, it's musically nice. In the second place, it gets you out of trouble, because those are the hardest notes. Okay. Before 7. 4, shall we? 4 before 7. And. Now percussion. Those two chords, again, going into figure 9, into number 9, they have to be absolutely full of fury, and they have to be the culmination of that whole thing before. If you've played his other music, you know how very typical it is for him to do that long a rhythmic build-up and then slam those 2 chords in and be back into theme 1. I think you can play from number 8 and figure not to be too loud until number 9. However, 2 before number 9, let's have a little more crescendo from the brass. Okay, here we go. Number 8, shall we? Nice and soft. And 1. Can you hear that you're rushing a bit, by the way? Pop, 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 pop. You're giving the flute not much chance, either in tempo or in dynamic. Can we start, please, 3rd bar of 9? And would you all be aware that if you cannot hear the flute, each individual one of you, then something's too loud, probably you. All right. Fine, very good. Let's skip around a little bit. Let's go to where? Oh, the ending of this is so pretty. You want to stick to the first movement, by the way? Looks of total terror. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's play 21. Can you find that for me? 21. Woodwinds, when you have a solo, don't be shy, huh? 21. Now, I don't care about coming in early, because in point of fact, you came in just the way I like. I would much rather have a really horrendous mistake made with conviction than to play at the correct place with kind of, oh God, I hope I'm right. You know what I mean? In other words, right there, after that big brass thing, you have to come in as viciously as possible. Ba, 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 bum, each one. And it doesn't just mean loud or at the frog or anything, really, really viciously. And it can even not make such a beautiful sound at that point. Right there, huh, shall we? After the double bar, change of key. First note. And one. Again. That's one. One. You're rushing. Look, I tell you what, by the way, I feel it fair to tell you, no matter who you play repertoire pieces with, I mean, what conductor, he will have other things to ask for, and he'll drive you crazy about other things. That is part of the, if you like, boring lot of sitting in an orchestra, and that is that you are afflicted with one conductor after the other, and there's always somebody who thinks the conductor's a twit. You know, I know that. That's all right. But at the moment, you're stuck with me, and you'll have to do the things that I am particular about. And in this piece, it's going to be rhythmic things. Not just when all hell is breaking loose and we're playing loudly. But it has to be ba-da-dum, be-da-dum, be-da-dum, be-da-dum. Because the very Russianness, the very kind of, if you like, Rachmaninoff-ness of it is inherent in that. And you must not rush. Woodwinds, you're marked mezzo forte, not piano. Be-da-dum, be-da-dum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum. Stay there. Can we have number 23 once more? And then the third bar of 23 really come out like you did. That was nice. Go! Rhythmically. Right there. What is it, 26? Make a little more, please, brass of that sound. Have we got a tam-tam? Somebody playing it? Yes? You haven't changed to a flute player in the meantime, have you? Okay. Can we have 25? 25. Easy on the mezzo forte. If anything, less than that. 25. And. Yes, and keep time. First of all, I'm making a much bigger retard, evidently, than you're used to. And now you know. Number two, can you make a gradual diminuendo that really comes down to the marked pianissimo? It's too loud, too long. 26, and let's keep going. In the percussion, what kind of bells are you playing? It sounds like you're hitting somebody's cufflinks. There's a very peculiar note on it. Are you aware of it, darling? The C, I believe, is very curious. Play that for me once. I'm serious. I just want to see. That's the one. Ooh. Yes. Yes. All right. As long as it's meant to be a C, is it? Okay, fine. Third bar of 26. More diminuendo on it. And 1. Now give, come on, big. Again, mainly because it's so pretty. Can you do something for me? Backstands, think of it in terms of the last, after the cadenza of your own very own concerto. Give, huh? All of it, all of it. Right there, please. After 26, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th bar. 6th bar, that first C. Now, come on. Keep it, keep it. Yes. I'll show you one more thing. Sorry to plague you. When you have a very, very long note, a breve tied to a minim, the sound unconsciously gets softer. You let the bow run out and you make it get softer. Keep the sound. No matter how long it is, if you have to go into free bowing at the moment, we won't care. Anything, but keep that sound. Same place, and we'll go to the end. And 1. Now keep it, keep it, keep it, keep it, keep it. Can I ask you something? It's a small point. That's so nicely played, both from the flute and the clarinet. Play it a little freer. There you can afford to be a little freer within the bar. In other words, if you feel, only if you agree, if you feel like making the tiniest, most imperceptible tenuto on the first of the group of 4 semiquavers. Da 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 dee, dee da da. I don't care if you fall infinitesimally behind the beat, as long as you make up for it then, you know? But it's so pretty that way. Can we try right where the tune is over at 28? 28. And 1. Beautiful. Just right. Coraggio, dear. Oh. Hey, it says pianissimo, not mezzo forte. Last two bars. No, it says pianissimo. Stay there. Last 2 bars. Bravo. Bravo. Let's take a short break, shall we? Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. Can I make, by the way, one general criticism? Not a criticism as much as a question. Very often people who are not in our profession ask the question how, it doesn't seem to them that the orchestra members ever really look at the conductor. Now, I know it looks that way, but I also know for a fact that people, for instance, in the LSO or in any orchestra, have learned the trick of seeming not to look, but they really do look. Now, you seem to look, but you don't. Now, I find it a very kind of a spooky sensation. It's like going over a cliff. I always think you're playing by ear. You know, am I wrong? Are you actually keeping kind of the periphery of an eye out as to that I might possibly be doing something of interest? Huh? Because do try. I mean, get used to it. That's something that takes years and years of practice, as much as actually playing the instrument. But do take an occasional look. You know, you'd be surprised. All right. That piece of Rachmaninoff's is so obviously written by someone who is in love with the orchestra and with an orchestral sound. And that leads me to a kind of a problem that affects all of us who work with orchestras, and that is that quite a few of my colleagues have pronounced that the symphony orchestra as such is moribund, that there will be no symphony orchestras in a few years. Because of economic reasons, an awful lot of young composers are writing for very small groups, because music for large orchestras tends to be complicated. It tends to have to be rehearsed a lot, which in turn costs a lot of money, which in turn nobody's got. All right. Now, there is in the audience a composer who is in love with the orchestra to the degree that, if you like, Strauss was, or Ravel, or Rachmaninoff. I don't mean in any remote way that he sounds like that, but he's got the same kind of inherent love affair with the symphony orchestra, and he uses it phenomenally well. And I'm looking forward to a piece that the LSO was fortunate enough to be able to commission from him. And I want to ask him whether he agrees with the fact that the symphony orchestra is slowly sinking into the horizon. That's Mr. Nicholas Moore. Nick?
Well, in some ways, regrettably, one has to say yes. I think that what is actually happening, the best orchestras are not going to go under. To begin with, there will always be that great repertoire to be there. I happen to think that the symphony orchestra is one of the finest creations of Western civilization. I really do. I think it's one of our greatest achievements. And I just don't think that you can throw it overboard like that. I don't think either that audiences want to hear the same old type of programs again.
Well, now, for instance, John Ogden, you are also a composer of note. You wrote a sensational piano concerto, which is very, very beautifully orchestrated. So obviously you love the orchestra.
Yes. I mean, if I could return to Nick's point about programs, I like the idea of programs based around one composer, so that you get him into sort of focus, rather like when you go to an art gallery, you see one painter. I think those sort of programs work very well. They're all Sibelius, or all Nielsen. I think you come out of a concert like that, really, feeling you've got one composer into focus.
How jolly nice if we did hear the earlier Mozart, you know, in a program, where we also heard some of the later as well.
Yes, only totally parenthetically, it reminds me of an absolutely outrageous remark that Glenn Gould made. I think he's a kind of a mad genius, you know, and he doesn't like Mozart. And I went up in smoke, you know, when he said that. And I said, how dare you? How can you say that? And he said, well, it took him 25 symphonies before he got one down that was any good. Since he wrote the other 24 before he was 11 or something, I don't think it's a terrible thing to do. I tell you something that I wanted to bring up that may seem a very odd thing to talk about from my point of view, because I am so committed to music. But I think there's too much music in the wrong places. And that is on a very, if you like, silly level. I don't like the fact that music is being misused as background so much. I mean, it's very weird to have, you know, a tooth filled at the dentist and and that music is going on. And if you wait at an airplane, you know, at an airport, the music is going. And if you're going upstairs, it's in the lift. You know, I don't understand that. I have much too much respect for music to want it used as an almost inaudible pacifier. You know, I think that is a loathsome misuse of music. And it's almost as if people were afraid to let you have a moment's silence. If there's going to be music, I want to hear it. I want to actually listen. I think it's curious to go to someone's house and have kind of meaningless music on because they're afraid that the conversation might stop for a moment. You know, what's even worse, of course, is if the music is not meaningless but meaningful and played at a low level. But I'll give you an example which is quite true, and that is that I was on a flight recently, and you know that when the flights are short, they tend to be much bumpier because they don't get a lot of altitude, right? So I was going, I don't know, I think from New York to Boston or something like that, and we ran into a really kind of a biblical storm. And it was truly scary. And the plane was on a perpetual bounce up and down, and people were very frightened, and suddenly they turned on a Mantovani record. You know. Now, with all due respect, you know, I called the stewardess. I was absolutely enraged, and I said, look here, I know that the chances of anything actually happening to this plane are 1,000,000 to 1. But that 1,000,000 to 1 shot must exist, otherwise you wouldn't put on this music which is meant to soothe people. Is that right? And the girl looked rather stricken, and she said, well, I mean, you know, it's customary when there's a bad storm, we put it on. And I was furious, and I said, I tell you what, I'm absolutely serious. Either turn it on, or put on the German Requiem, because I ain't going to die to this. Now, I don't like that kind of misuse of music, and yet it is also an absolute fact with which I don't think any of us would disagree, that making records is if you like, the life's blood of a career now, because even with the jet flights that we all take time and time and time again, it is very important for records to represent us all over the world. I mean, there is a story, if you like, apocryphal, about a pianist who used to record a great deal, who was not terribly good, and he made all 5 piano concertos, and it took about 120 sessions, you know, and there was a splice and a tape cut every 3 bars. And when finally the thing was all put together, it was conducted by a conductor who is now dead, Artur Rodzinski. And Rodzinski called the soloist in, and they played the tapes for them, and the soloist, who shall be nameless, turned and beamed at Rodzinski and said, isn't it marvelous? And Rodzinski said, yes, don't you wish you could play that way? But it's, I tell you though, the only way that I think records misrepresent music as opposed to misrepresenting artists is that we are all guilty of using mechanically reproduced music a bit too much. I don't like the fact that great music should come quite so easily. I think it should come as a reward. In other words, if you want to hear the St. Matthew Passion, I think it should take more than that gesture. You know? I don't think you should just go click and hear the St. Matthew Passion. I think you should order tickets, you should look forward to it, you should have to get dressed up, drive in the rain, not find a parking place, then be shown to the wrong seat and have to put your overcoat down on yourself. You know, I mean, one of those things. And then you get your reward. Let's take a couple of suppositions in a row. Suppose you play the piano very badly, but you can play a bit. By playing badly, you will want to hear someone play well. You will also presumably want to buy some music and play it in your own home, as opposed to always hearing it mechanically reproduced by somebody very, very good indeed. And I also am a firm believer that if you take a Mozart sonata and stumble through it at 1/4 the correct tempo with all kinds of mistakes and everything, by the time you've played it through, you will know more about Mozart than if you have heard 16 records played by the greatest pianist in the world. And that is something that I wish people who are talking, very often people flatter me by writing me and saying, should my child, age 3, who now bounces in rhythm, become a professional musician? And I always want to say to them, for God's sake, wait. Try and get him to like music, and then try and get him to love music, and then worry about whether he's going to make money at it. Because I think that the fact that all of you enjoy playing is worth as much or more than how well you play. We've talked about how horrifying it is to be a musician and how hard it is to make a living at it and how many roadblocks there are on the way and all that. And how so many of my, even most distinguished colleagues have said that the symphony orchestra is dead. An orchestra such as this is a purely 20th century phenomenon. In previous centuries, no matter how high the artistic level of music was, there has never been the youth orchestra, the amateur. There have been amateur orchestras, but not youth orchestras, not schools. That is a 20th century phenomenon. Now, this happens to be one of the really outstanding ones. But there are a great, great many of them, not only in this country and on the continent, but in America there must be literally 1,000 of them, if not more. And I may be under-guessing it by 2,000. Now, if the youth orchestra, it's a very simple equation. If the youth orchestra is a 20th century phenomenon, then obviously there will be a symphony orchestra in the 21st century. And on that happy note, before anybody talks me out of it, I think we should play something. Do you want to play part of the last movement of the Beethoven Seventh, please? This piece, although of course it's one of the absolute staples in the repertoire, gave rise to a horrifying experience of mine last week. And that is that we played it with the LSO on an out-of-town concert down on the coast somewhere. And it being the LSO, and because we had some other rather problematic works on the program, we decided that, you know, the Beethoven Seventh, we would play kind of on mutual trust, you know, which is, with an orchestra like that, and with a conductor that conducts that orchestra a lot, very possible. So the rehearsal was, shall we say, sketchy, you know. I kind of mentioned a few things. And then, as you well know, having played Beethoven 7, it is the one Beethoven symphony where the repeats are absolutely endless. I mean, every movement has the possibility, if not the necessity, of at least between 2 and 10 repeats per movement. And when we started, it occurred to me that that is a problem we had never discussed that day. It was last Tuesday. And so when we were 2 bars before the first repeat, I saw the leader, Mr. Brown, look at me with the same look that you see, you know, a rabbit in a snare. And it occurred to me, and I then spent the rest of the symphony trying to remember, because I was conducting from memory, where the repeats were. And every once in a while I was conducting, I would go like this, you know, and they would make the repeat, and otherwise I'd go no, and they wouldn't make the repeats. And I was in a cold sweat at the end, but we all did it. All right, come on. Now, first of all, early, wait for the downbeat. And then look here. Don't play yum-ba-da-dum. It's yum-ba-da-dum. Also, that first chord, think of somebody you really dislike. Come on, and make a downbeat. Let's go. And. All right. Now, that's very good. Now try and don't make the sforzando like Stravinsky. You know, not from up here with the bow. Put the bow on the string and then make it. And. Yeah, except the right notes. And on time. And louder. And rhythmic. Go on. Good. Yes. Do you know what you did at the beginning, which was very nice? Yum-ba-da-dum. All right, don't double-cross him, and once the tune starts, decide that it's Delius. Come on. And. Keep it. Now, 1. After beats. Look, the first ending. Yum-ba-da-dum. Those 3 repeated A's. Those are clarion calls. Come on now, look alive. And. No. Better. After beats. I'm going to do a wicked imitation, and I'm going to exaggerate, which is cruel. But you don't play yum ba da 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 da. You play dum da dum da dum da. It's like that. Don't. You have to have all 4 semiquavers. Yum ba da 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 dum ba da 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 dum ba da 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 da. I know it's legato, but I can't do that singing. Once more. And. Good. Keep it. look here. Horns. Well, you have the tune after the second time round, starting in the fifth bar, right? Bum, ba, 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 bum. Now, right there in the next bar, bum, ba, 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 bum. And then on the next quaver, the woodwinds take over. Ba, 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 bum. Now, it's a very nice tune. Can I hear without the strings once, please? Fifth bar of the second time. Yes, woodwinds, you came out very nicely. Horns, you have a nice, heroic instrument. Let's have it. And. Yeah, first horn more. Once more. Fine, second time. Second time ending. Now. It isn't triplets. It's yum ba-dum 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 ba-da pa pa ba da pa pa ba da pa pa ba da pa pa bum. That's what you should be singing mentally. Huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Bum ba-dum 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 ba-dum. Not bum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum. No, no. Letter A, please, and also seconds and violas. When you have ba-da-da-da-da-dum, bring it out, and nice and rhythmic. No letters. What do you use instead? You do have letters. Okay. No, don't cheat the quaver. Not too short. Not yum da da da. 1 da 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 da. There's plenty of time. Don't rush. And 1. That's good. 1. Now. Not bad, not bad, not bad. It started off great, and then it rushed. And it must, no accelerando, no crescendo. It's already loud. It's yum, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Slam each one in, right there, on that. You know where it is? Okay, come on. And 1. Don't run away. No. You're all playing triplets. You're all playing ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. It's 1, ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Letter B. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Don't rush. No, it says piano, right? When you first come in, it doesn't. It doesn't say piano crescendo. Bidum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Huh? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Anyway, it's too loud. It wouldn't do any harm. Fifth bar of B, and now I won't shout the 1, 2 at you. Come on. No, no, no. You must hear the semiquaver rest. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Don't make a dot on the quaver. 1, 2, 1. That's it. Where are you running? Okay, fine. Now, we won't make the repeat. Look here, after C, You must really give me all the groups of 4 that start with the B natural. Huh? Once more at letter C, and we'll take the second ending. Keep that F loud. Da yadam. That's got some anger behind it. It's not just loud, you know, as opposed to soft. That's got to have a fist behind it. Come on, second time. Second time ending. And now hang on. Come in. Let's skip around a bit, shall we? You want to play for me at E? At E, nice and soft. No. The quaver is a different length all over the place. It's yum, ba-da-dum. Exactly full value at E. Better. Yes. Once more, woodwinds, you're cheating me out of the semiquavers. Yum, ba-da-dum. Better. Good. Don't you dare run away. Now, big crescendo. Coming up. That's what I meant. Now, I did it on purpose, just out of pure wickedness. Keep an eye out. Just for fun, I wanted to be slower there. You know, even if we were rehearsing for tonight's concert, it wouldn't necessarily mean that would happen tonight. You know what I mean? But do keep an eye. Now, let's slow up right there. Once more, same place, and we go. At E. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yum, ba-da-dum. Too important, and then we'll skip around to the end. Don't play yum da 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 in all those bars. It's 1 da 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 da. That quaver, you are really rushing terribly, and it makes a terrible kind of soup out of the rhythm, because you then play down da 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 da. It's 1 da 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 da. You have much more time than you think. A quaver is a long note in this particular instance. Let's just wait a minute. I'll tell you where we can go to. Let's play. Let's play at K. At K, from there to the end. thank you very much. I don't think any of us in the music profession have a hell of a lot to worry about while there are orchestras like this around. I do congratulate you. Very long and hard afternoon. You know, we've been sitting, first of all, it's very hot, and then you had to listen a lot to things you probably couldn't hear. And you played very, very beautifully, and I enjoyed myself a lot, and we'll do it again. All right, thanks very much. Thank you, everybody.